Right, so after I've explored the rest of the basement area, I would like to go to the first floor and have a mosey about.
Okay.
What's the plan? Are we all staying together? If so, what's happening with the squish monsters and Alice and Plant Puppy?
We have more risk going to the first floor without some of the monsters already dead. So we kind of need to keep an eye out on the first floor and see if we encounter anything else.
I concur.
Since all of us are more intelligent than people in the Friday the 13th franchise, I think none of us should go alone into where we know there are monsters.
I agree. I'm just trying to concur with you that nobody should be alone, even down in the shelter.
Thank you. That's my second favorite thing that people can do to me.
But by the way, Sachiko, how did you want that steak again?
I wanted to be easy for me to carry. Imagine that it might work as some kind of flag in future.
During all the talking, you would pretty much be done, Artemis.
All right.
Succ thanks Artemis really warmly and carefully places her spear in the parents' bedroom. I want to cut a portion of Emilia's body, large enough to be appealing to Logan, but small enough to save her as much as possible for later uses.
All right, you get yourself half a pick.
I'm going to leave one of the cinders down with the squish monsters and Alice.
That would be cool, yeah. That was pretty good.
Everyone is now, except for one cinder, in the basement. What is the course of action?
Then Sachiko and I will be going to the pool room. If you can show me a spot to hide Sachiko, please.
Hide the cinder in the place that I hid, and then I'm going to look for another hiding place for myself.
Noel and Artemis, you guys start moving towards the staff room, while Sachiko and Cinder go towards the pool, jacuzzi, and the sauna area.
Cinder Left will be going with Artemis and Noel, but she'll be placing the piece of Amelia in an advantageous spot.
I tell Cinder, please pay attention and see if it sees us coming out of the hiding place. Will it attack or will it escape based on its animal behavior? And I will hide in the bar area.
All right. Artemis and Noel. The door seems normal. Everything is pretty formal here. Everything is made very classy. Down, a hygiene sink. Then, to the right, you see clothes cases and dressing pods. Still seem functional and seem to be holding some clothes. Up, you would see the kitchen area where after getting dressed, they would be using different equipment to cook the snacks and make the food that is needed. And there's the fridge in that same area as well. And then you have left where there's an open area with different trays. And this is the snack bar where the food would be placed for people in the cinema to either pick up or for the staff to carry them to them. There's also, just towards the left on the ceiling, an elevator that someone can fit through. It has signs of Logan having passed through somewhat recently, and it leads up. You don't know to which room necessarily.
Well, I mean, we should probably block that tunnel before we start turning our backs on it.
Can I use my tracking and one of the black... Well, I only have one black light now. And the black light to see which way he was going. Was he going up the vent or down the vent?
He was coming down the vent.
Yeah, don't block it up yet. How far can I track it? Can I see where they went to next? Where he went to?
You know that it has gone towards the left and into the cinema.
With my architectural knowledge, would I be able to tell where this leads to directly?
The right side of the tea room, the kettle room, as it would be known as, where the food would be made ready. It would be the kitchen of the tea room. I would be able to tell you that it's room 12.
Well, I guess I'm just going to have a look at the hygiene station then.
And if the tracks lead out of the cinema, I'll just go back to the staff room and look in the fridge.
You know that through the cinema, it would go down into the area to the gym, but you're not following it. So, for the fridge, you know that different settings can be changed, and there are lots of food in it, actually. It seems like there should have been some sort of celebration going on, especially because you can see that there's a cake in there, and you think that these were prepared ahead of time for perhaps when the family would be coming out of the pods, and this was gonna be congratulating Amelia on her 18th birthday.
What kind of cake? Like chocolate cake? Strawberry cake?
It's a chocolate cake. And keep in mind, all of them are completely fresh, like as if time hasn't passed at all.
Close the fridge as quickly as possible. It's aging.
Even just to disable it, you would need to disable the stasis effect. It's like a super high-tech fridge. And yeah.
Can I get a stock of how much food is in the fridge?
10 points.
Lovely.
And Noel, you said you checked the hygiene station. It's a sanitary area where you can get disinfected. Anything specific about it you want to check? It has water on tap as well.
Yeah, I just want to see if it has fresh water then, or if it's fucked up.
The water seems to be pretty fresh to your knowledge. It seems to be the water circulating through the house.
Well, found some water.
Cinder, in the shelter, you can hear people very happily talking upstairs as if they've discovered something. Very loud sounds, you're even surprised you can hear them. And then suddenly Artemis seems to say something and everyone quiets down. And then there are sounds of something hitting against something metal, just
Yeah, no, her guard stays exactly where it is, and she makes sure the weapons are cocked and ready. This is not right.
We go back, a head half cut off as if it doesn't have the top part of the skull, kind of like a bowl with spiky ends. Its mouth sealed with just teeth poking out. This is the first time you're seeing this creature. It moves kind of like a caterpillar, and you see it move, stretch out, and then go forward, stretch out, and then contract again, move itself slowly on the ground. It seems to be looking around, even though there are no eyes on its half skull. It seems to actually be looking around as well. It starts to approach the chunk on the ground, going from hiding spot to hiding spot, and then after a little while, going to the side to one of the doors. There's just one flash, almost like a flashbang, and then it calms down its muscles, and then starts picking off bits and pieces, tearing the pectoral muscle from side to side, and starts chewing on it with the talons and teeth against its arms, against the ends of its hands.
Does it look like this attack is something that can be done sparingly with the electricity?
There are certain muscles that activate on its body, ready to jump off again right after it does it. The attack itself doesn't seem like it could be repeated for a little while, but the body seems instinctively ready to run away, as if it's used to running away after striking with the food that it plucked off.
Okay. Does this creature look like if it's ambushed, it will attack or run?
If it's ambushed, you think that would probably cause it to escape, especially in this state, because it doesn't seem to be able to attack with its electricity.
But if it were to be ambushed and it hadn't used that attack, it would most likely fight instead of flight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cinder, below, there's cheering going on. This cheering, however, sounds a bit off. These times when you're hearing something from a distance and you're trying to discern what you're actually hearing, whether it's like the sound of a person or some engine, you think it could be the sounds of, just very slightly, only for mere seconds, you think it could be the sound of someone screaming or a machine working like, but otherwise it just sounds like people are cheering again. We go back. Currently it's just eating away.
And it seems to eat as much as it can in the time that it has, right?
You think with your trainer knowledge and animal knowledge, veterinary knowledge, it probably doesn't fill up too much. It keeps itself light and doesn't have as much of a gastral system dedicated to storing food. It eats in small portions.
Okay.
Artemis and Noel. Noel, you hear the jumping sound, and you hear that sudden flash as if there's just an electric connection, and that's it. By the way, does Cinder do anything these rounds as well?
She's not really looking for anything. She's listening because she has one person downstairs and she has two other people in the pool room. She's just making sure nothing is happening.
So far, so good.
I'll look at the hygiene station.
It's just good for disinfecting yourself. It still has both water on tap and it has some disinfectants in it. There's hand wash, even mouthwash, and mouth refresheners. And Noel, what are you doing?
And check out the clothes.
All right, you go to the clothing section. As far as the clothes cases go, you find some sort of armor inside. You haven't quite worn these at any given time. These weren't really the types they would serve to the military, but you know this is like a favorite among lots of workers in dangerous areas.
Any branding on it?
Yeah, it seems to be Ovant.
Can I use my chip to look up the branding?
Sure. You open it up, you check what's logged into the computer. You do feel like your morale would be draining if you keep it on, but with a little bit of information you gain, it's that it's cheap in bulk, it's used for staff safety in dangerous environments, and most of the time, it's something that some insurance companies would have forced their employees and such to wear, or companies to wear in order to insure them. And most of the time, it's single use, but can take a lot of damage. That one set of damage. It's more like airbags.
Right. I'm not going to put it on, but I'm going to take it with me then.
All right. It's the Second Wind V. That's the style. That's what you found.
Is there anything else in the clothing area?
The clothes cases, no, but the pod themselves, one of them seems to be filled as well.
I'm going to have a glance at that.
You open it up, and from top to bottom, you see some hair, long hair.
I back the fuck up immediately. No, I've seen hair before. I fucking leave the room and I close the door behind me.
You go back, the hair itself doesn't move. Underneath it, a broken gas mask that seems to have had a blunt hit on it. And underneath it, you see this open eye that's slightly dried up, and this corpse in broken armor and a broken gas mask falls forward, and you dodge back, hits the ground in front of you.
Well, I'll use forensics on her, but I'm not going close to her.
Your forensics from afar would tell you she wasn't dead, was incapacitated with a series of blunt hits. Then she was resuscitated, then died from internal bleeding. Just the basic things that you're trying to deduce on a limb. What else you can know is that it's probably a somewhat old corpse and it's preserved in the poop oil.
Something about the state she's in tells me that armor isn't very good.
The armor itself is completely ruined. It could be turned into 2 parts to add to your things if someone actually goes through the trouble of ripping it off of her body wherever it's been pushed into her body. 2 parts of basic parts. That's it.
Right, no, fuck that.
Yep. Yeah, I will.
All right. While Cinder gets close to start ripping off the armor stuff, since you have foraging, you know that there is a note and a notepad and also a book on this being's inventory.
He's not going near it. He'll point out anything.
Oh, yoink, yoink, and yoink.
Actually, use foraging on the whole room again.
You think there are 2 more corpses in the elevator.
Can I use forensics on those?
Signs of having been eaten and then slightly bits of flesh having grown back on those corpses, both covered in poop oil. There are burnt notes on both of them and signs of melee blunt hit. One of them seems to have had tattoos similar to those found on some first generation people.
Really? Okay.
See.
So we go back to the other people for now. Our sneaky boy is almost done eating. What do Sachiko and Cinder do?
I don't want to reveal this hiding spot, but I want to make noise to see if it dips. Fuck.
And you, Sachiko?
The Chico also continues to watch.
Takes the rest of the mouthful in its hand mouths. As it's chewing, it's again stretching away. Go lower and then stretch on the ground, go into the gem.
Can I understand how it can see if it doesn't have eyes?
You think it probably has eyes elsewhere under some sort of hidden flap. It definitely seems like it's looking.
So it went into the gym.
I'm gonna wait for a little bit longer to see, just to make sure it's gone, I guess.
We go back to, again, Artemis, Noel, and the other Cinder while you're waiting.
Can I bring the corpses down in the elevator? Actually, that might not be a good idea.
Yeah, letting Logan know that we've moved shit, and then him having less food options, since that seems to be one place where he goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably...
Can I use my sneaky peeper to peek up in the elevator?
You look there.
And I want to be very paranoid using my sneaky peeper. I don't want anyone to grab it or smash it. I'm going to be ultra paranoid.
You're holding it so tight it's almost shaking. Like.
Yeah.
Now you're moving it up. You see signs of bites, electric burns, signs of Logan having gone up and down this place quite a lot. You see signs of blunt hit around the entry and the exit, as if he had been chased to this place very often, and as if for short periods of time, seeing the corpses there, you think could have caused the anger of Amelia to be taken out on the surrounding walls. You can see just signs of blunt damage. And
Do they look like lovers?
well, there are actually burnt notes that are now not really able to be read on each of them. The only note that you can read
Is the one I'm not
is
going
the
near.
one, on the corpse with the open eye. Watch
Yeah,
your eye.
absolutely reading that shit.
I'm gonna make a sneaky grabber tool next, by the way, so I don't need to go near things.
Another thing is that the one that seems to have a bit of flesh having grown back seems to have been detached from somewhere. You think there's some growth that seems to have been perhaps started by the poop oil, and the body had been connected to somewhere in the house probably. So you think the one higher, that also seems to be a 4th gen, which is a clone, that one seems like it probably was alive in the house for quite a while before something killing it.
And therefore regenerating in the poop oil?
So apparently it had taken damage, and the poop oil had healed back what was necessary, is what Artemis is understanding.
Really?
Are there any containers, empty containers, like I don't know, for fucking popcorn or anything, that I can, take some of the poop oil and carry it in so that I can examine it closer?
For now, as you're going to grab one, we go to Cinder, and you now start looking through the note. It seems to be written exactly with the same choice of words. You can very easily make sure it's written by Amelia, but it doesn't seem to be that Amelia thought this was written by her. Dear Amelia, it was a great pleasure to experience all that we got together. I ended up loving you in ways I never thought I could love anyone. I could never see myself being with a girl before you. And then there's a part that's crossed out. Apparently, it was written and then felt bad about, and then it was crossed out again. But now, I can't see myself being with anyone at all after you. I hope our love inspires you to create more wonderful works. And then underneath is scribbled just in different numbers and such. Your work is the most wonderful I've read as it is of literature. I will be here for you, even at times that you love another.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
I want to ask Artemis if I can have my gloves now, because I have all the materials.
Is there any, metal that we can sharpen and shit in the cinema or staff room at all, by the way? Yeah, other than the nails.
The gloves I have razor blades for, I already have the parts for it.
Is there anything else in the cinema or staff room, though?
The cinema
Just
has been
plastic.
cleared out. The staff room things can be taken off of it and things can be augmented. For example, in the staff room, there's first of all an empty blowtorch. There's also a safe knife. It seems to be set to only cut vegetables and detect somehow meat and not cut through meat and flesh. So there's that. You can also override its safety.
Can I stab Noel with it? No.
I think I'm the one who has to override the safety. I think I'm